One of the most loved and famous movies and series of all times are exactly those that have the most violence, the most brutal deaths and fight scenes, the most cold-blooded murderers. But why? Are people just sadistic savages that enjoy watching violence? Well, from one side, yeah, but there is far more to it than what you can see with the naked eye. Violence is ingrained in us from our very creation, so we naturally have a thing for it. Whether it is Invincible, The Boys, Game of Thrones, it doesn't really matter. What matters is why violence in its purest form is so enjoyed and how it is made, so make sure you stay till the end. When I say the word violence, you may think of this. Or this. But this isn't what I'm talking about. What I mean is this. Or even this. Violence may have many different meanings, but what I think people enjoy the most when it comes specifically to violence and people who love those movies. Of course, there are some people that don't like it at all, but regardless, let's continue. What I think fascinates an audience about those scenes is their nature, the authenticity, because fight scenes, in general, are like choreographed dance. You know what will happen almost before it even happens. One character throws this combo and the other one blocks with this one. There is a limit to the combinations you can choose from, and after time, viewers get used to them. But when you see scenes of pure violence like in Invincible or Game of Thrones, you have people that are put in a situation that even if they had fighting experience and skills in the first place, they are being pushed so much that they resort to their primal instincts. Biting, scratching, headbutting, hitting in the balls, anything just so they can survive or just win. So the expected fight transforms into survival and every fight feels like the last. Invincible introduced us a somewhat foreign concept till this point. Every fight scene is so brutal and so many lives are lost, even for a small scuffle between friends, that at one point you start to question the meaning of life in the series. All this is cool, but why is it important? What aspect of it engages the viewer? Well, there is not one, but many. The first and probably the most prominent is the fact that this type of writing makes it hard for the viewer to even have a favorite character, because he might get killed in the next episode, or as JJ Martin said, no one is safe, even the main ones. And he meant it. My favorite character in Game of Thrones was Eddard Stark, but because I didn't knew the story was written in that way and he got killed like season 1 or so, and I got disappointed. Some may think this is bad, but they will be wrong. This way you actually care for the characters, because in real life there isn't a writer to just change the plot and decide he or she won't die. So the movie or series feel more natural and realistic that way, closer to representing real consequences. But this is what every movie strives for, realism. But not realism like depicting real life, but realism as to make the viewer believe the movie is more than just a story, but rather a thing they can almost experience themselves. The other benefit is that this type of violence gives all the more depth to your character. The countless deaths have a toll on any being that has any type of common emotions. If you have ever seen these two pictures of a soldier before and after World War II, you will understand easily what I am talking about. On one side you have characters like the Viltrumites or Joffrey or this guy from the 100. You see deeper inside them, how their mind works, because you aren't used to seeing people that have little to no respect for the lives of others. So you can almost dissect and analyze them, like a scientist analyzing a psychopath. And on the other side you have characters like Mark, or Jon Snow, or Raven Reyes. In all of them, you can clearly see the toll all that suffering of others has on them, getting out alive in every instance while so many around them died. It starts to play with their minds, breaking them, testing their will, making them question their moral, as well as the fact that they themselves have killed a lot of people in all of this. All of these and more give different characters depth to their different characteristics as a being. But how are they properly done and on the right time? It's not like you can just throw 10 or 20 brutal violent moments in a movie and that's it. So then how and when it should be done? As with Invincible, Game of Thrones and all the others I mentioned, they have established the why of the story, which is the first and most important factor. Why that much violence is even possible, regardless if like in Invincible, because the world is filled with this type of creatures, particularly that have zero respect for the life of others, or they are just that selfish and disregard others. They just made so good power difference, and when a weaker opponent meets a much stronger one, you get this. They established that in their world, life is precious, but it is also very fragile, especially the life of normal people, surrounded by ultra-powerful aliens. Because it is logical, if it was the real world, our lives would have been as fragile living amongst these godlike creatures. In Game of Thrones, they established that the entire world is politics, it is a fight for power, and that most people are savages because of the time the cities are located in, so they naturally resolve to killing. Their primal instincts haven't faded away completely. In the 100, it is the fact that the world almost ended, so those that are left are naturally scared and cautious, so they would stab someone in the back just so they survive. In The Boys is similar to Invincible. You have a super powerful creature that disregards almost completely the life of others. And when you know these and keep them in mind, all the bad moments that can happen are just a ticking time bomb and you expect them to happen. But here comes the kicker. You're surprised more or less anytime it happens, because timing is as important as the why. They can't occur just like that. The build-up to them has to be correct. Like let's say Omni-Man killing the Guardians, it was a surprise. But then you realize that because Mark got his powers, this reminded him of his mission to conquer. Or when Joffrey killed the king, the build-up was right there. Eddard Stark was on his way. He opposed him. Joffrey was crazy and stupid, and much more reasons. But he was made to look like a main character, and usually you don't kill your main character in the first season, so it was justified, but unexpected and shocking in the same way. So in short, violence has fascinated people and will continue to do so, but violence in its purest form. The more raw and natural it gets, the better it engages the viewer. Because it is scary. You see the person's movements, they are chaotic, weird, looks natural, real, rather than choreographed. But to truly immerse the viewer in these scenes, you need to have established the why this is possible. And your timing should be perfect. It's like a puzzle. It just isn't quite right if that piece on the edge is missing. For a new movie or series to even make me watch an episode or 10 minutes of it, they need to have properly done their violent scenes. Another example of good violence is the last series I watched, From. But let me know in the comments if you would like a video about them in the future. Also, what do you think about real raw violence in movies? Do you prefer it, or you would like just some violence like in most Marvel movies? Or you don't like it at all and only watch comedy drama movies? Just kidding, these people probably won't open my video at all. But anyways, thank you for watching, like, subscribe and see you next time.